What's up, fight fans? UFC 323, the great rematch between Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan 2, will be taking place December 6th in Las Vegas, Nevada at the T-Mobile Arena. And I'm just going to be giving a very early prediction, very illiterate early prediction on just the main event of this fight card of UFC 323. So, obviously, this is a very anticipated rematch. The first fight got a lot of criticism for not being very entertaining, but I think it just really just showed how good Merab is that he couldn't let Petr Yan even get started and get into his groove at all in that fight. Um, but if I'm giving an early prediction, well, first off, let's just say Merab, his activity has been unnatural. It has been alien like, it has been superhuman. This guy fought like not even a month ago, like this month, and now he's going to be taking on Petr Yan in a rematch in December. Just insane. I can't wait for this fight. But without further ado, let's give my opinion on this match. I'm also going to talk about the structure of the card a little bit. But first, let's talk about Petr Yan. So, Petr Yan has built up himself a 3-fight win streak to get back into the title contention, into the title conversation. And with that 3-fight win streak, he beat Song Yadong, who, as young as he is, he's already kind of a veteran in the UFC, even though he's not even 30 yet, which is crazy. Song Yadong. Sorry, let me scroll down here. He beat Song Yadong. This is after his loss to Merab, as Merab is the last person he lost to, which makes this rematch so interesting. He beats Yadong. I believe this was UFC 299, right before 300. This is a great win to have over, Song Yadong. I believe Song Yadong was just coming off of one of the best wins of his career against Ricky Simon. So for Petr Yan to beat him after coming off such a great win, great win for Petr Yan. Beating Davidson Figueiredo. Now, say what you want. Figgy is definitely not in his prime, as he was before, but he's still good, dude. He's still a former champion, and, Petr Yan had a great fight against him. And Marcus McGee. Obviously, Marcus McGee, bit of a step down in competition after these two guys fighting, and especially if you're going to go from Marcus McGee to Merab, that's quite a step down in competition to such a big step up. But Marcus McGee, he's an older prospect. But the thing is, Marcus McGee had some okay competition right before fighting Petr Yan, and Petr beat him by decision. It was a good decision, but nonetheless, it was going to decision against the guy who had very mid competition on the way up to his number one contender fight. But versus Figueiredo and Song Yadong in particular, something that Petr Yan was showing that shows a great improvement in his game is he's starting to counter these when his opponent is lowering their level or level changing in any way. Petr Yan is doing a really good job at countering their head movement, throwing an uppercut. So I'm sorry, I am so illiterate. He throws an uppercut in order to counter their level change. So whenever their head dips down, he has an uppercut ready for them. Or if they're going to shoot for a takedown or feinting for a takedown. Petr Yan was showing so much improvement in that. Now, to talk about Merab. And, this is, as a Petr Yan fan, this is where it kind of hurts. But if we're talking about who's improved more, it's obvious, like visibly obvious, day and night, that Merab is a much better fighter than when Petr Yan and him first met in 2022, I believe. So yeah, here we have Merab's most recent wins, and just, quite a stacked resume. A lot of former champs in this resume of his. Sorry for that. I accidentally excluded MMA. So sorry. Anyway, so with Merab, it's just drastic improvement since the first fight with Petr Yan. Since Petr Yan, right? It really was, in my opinion, the Umar Nurmagomedov fight, in which he had improved right before that fight. Going into that fight, he was improved, but that fight made him a better fighter, because in the rematch with Sean O'Malley here, he finished Sean, and in the first fight, Merab did dominate Sean. Okay, I know Sean kind of rallied a little bit late in the 5th round, but overall, that was pure domination by Merab Dvalishvili. A lot of Sean O'Malley fans try to say this fight is closer than it seemed. It really wasn't. Sean got dominated in this fight. But Um, you know, this was like such an improvement between fights, between going to decision with Sean O'Malley and Umar, and then finishing Sean O'Malley. And in his most previous fight, we almost saw him get a standing TKO against Corey Sandhagen. He caught him with a good right, and he ended up landing a bunch of punches on him. Now, thank God that, thankfully for Corey, Merab still doesn't have the most power, but he's definitely developing better striking skills to have Corey in that kind of situation so early in the fight. But yeah, Jan has improved his countering. I will admit that, especially with the level changes, with the uppercut. But overall, Merab has just so much more improved. And the thing is, like, even with these improvements that Petr Yan, has made with, throwing good combinations with the level changes, he has better takedown defense. I will say that. Overall, like, it's still, his style is still a problem for Petr Yan overall. And I say this because, Merab also does his own, level changing, but he does feints with it. And the thing is, even with this great improvement to Petr Yan's game, and of course Petr Yan's chin is still there. We saw that with the Song Yadong fight, and Marcus McGee. Petr Yan still has got a tough chin, but something that could hurt him is that Merab's mastered the level changes. Like, that's a big part of his game. You don't know if he's feinting. You don't know if he's going to throw a right hand. You don't know if he's going to shoot a fast take. And he's doing all this so fast. His feints are so fast. So even with this improvement that Petr Yan has made, I still am going to be leaning towards Merab Dvalishvili, like many people, because not only did he beat him, but it's like, not only does the guy get favored going into a rematch who won the first fight pretty decisively, but it's like Merab has like the perfect style to counter to what Petr Yan is improving by. Now, something that I think I forgot, and I think a couple people forget, is that, remember, Petr Yan is 2 years younger than Merab. That's something I just noticed here. Merab is 2 years older, and I know a lot of people like to say the 35, 36-year-old curse. I don't know about that. Merab still clearly has time, but we've said improvement so many times in this fight. But let's be honest, it's true. Merab has mastered the feints and the level changes. He don't know if he's throwing a right hand, takedowns, jabs, or some kind of other combination. So I'm picking Merab for another reason, is because if you look here, the activity is insane. Like, Petr Yan's, last 5 fights, it goes from 2022 to 2025. Merab, it's within a year. Just insane level of activity that Merab has been doing, and against the best of the best. Henry Cejudo, Sean O'Malley, Umar, Sean O'Malley again, Corey Sandhagen. And Jan's taking on tough competition, but it's Marcus McGee kind of takes it down a couple notches. Still a good win to have on your resume, but it's a huge step down in competition right before taking on Merab Dvalishvili. So I don't know about that. Anyway, let me know who you guys think is going to win in this fight. Who are you picking? And, I'm going to make a video about this, about the structure of the card. But one thing that really stuck out to me was, not only is Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira a prelim fight, which, by the way, maybe a featured prelim, I think, but it should be a main card fight. And instead we got, I get it. Mansour Abdul Malik, he's he's undefeated, up-and-coming contender. I can't wait to see him fight too. But, it's a match against Antonio Tricoli. This is not a fucking contender for anything, dude. We much rather see Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira as the featured prelim, in my opinion. I think most fans would want that. Second, another thing, bad structure about this card is, why is Macy Barber on the main card? Why? The last time Macy Barber, we literally had a main event canceled because of her. Okay, I don't know how else to say that. You guys remember, Erin Blanchfield versus Macy Barber was supposed to headline a fight night. Erin Blanchfield was waiting in the tunnel, waiting for Macy to make her walk out. Macy Barber was still in the tunnels, and then we get an announcement that Macy Barber won't be, and that the fight night and the event is over. we're not going to have a main event. Everyone go. And Aaron Blanchfield, had to wait there, had to cut weight, had to show up just for Macy to not go out. Now, granted, some of the blame is obviously on the UFC too. It is up to them to make sure these fighters are 100% healthy and ready to go into these fights, because obviously they will lie about injuries and about training camp and about sicknesses. You have to keep that in mind. Fighters will lie in order to compete. This is their job, this is their revenue, this is their livelihood. They will lie. But with Macy Barber, it's so annoying because 2 events have been canceled. She withdrew from the Rose Namajunas fight, and then right when we actually thought she was going to fight Aaron Blanchfield, she doesn't even come out of the tunnel because of a sickness. How did she get a main card spot on a numbered pay-per-view after that? Is her manager Ali Abdelaziz? Is it Tiki Ghostin? I have no idea why she's getting this favoritism. But yeah, weird structure for the card. And yes, my early prediction will be Merab Dvalishvili over Petr Yan. Let me know who you guys think is going to win this fight. And thank you all so much for 96 subscribers. We're so close to 100. Thank you all for liking and subscribing.